Hey, what's on, guys? So, with the first official airings of Disney XD's new Spider-Man series, I thought I'd give you guys my first impressions on the first 3 episodes. So, like most of these Spider-Man TV shows that have come out since the 90s, the show focuses on a less experienced version of Spider-Man, as he's just gotten his powers and he's still trying to get used to these new powers and the whole superhero thing. So, what makes this show a little bit different from the ones that we've already seen is that the Peter Parker that's in the show, his Spider-Man's very inexperienced. So in turn, he uses the scientific method to figure out a lot of the problems that he has and how to handle certain situations on a day-to-day basis. I personally thought that was actually a really neat addition to the show. He really used the scientific method to help him solve all his problems. Because if you look back in the other shows, Peter Parker just it just kind of happened. After some time, he just figured it out. But in this one, there's actually like a strong, valid reason as to how he solves his problems. And with only 3 episodes, we see several different villains from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, like Vulture, Jackal, and earlier versions of the Shocker. The show also changes up certain characters to match the high school style of the show and adding in some diversity. Characters like Alistair Smythe would fall in this category. But apart from that, the rest of the show is where this just goes downhill. The overall look of the show just barely hits above average. The environments are fine, but the character designs are incredibly dull, and they just look so incomplete compared to artwork from something like Spectacular Spider-Man or The Ultimate Spider-Man, or even the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s. The characters have no use of lighting and shadow. There are times where certain situations, the lighting and shadow do improve, and those are actually the moments that I'm actually rooting for in the show, because that's when I feel like the show is so complete. When I'm just watching it without all of that additional detail, it just feels incredibly dull and incredibly two-dimensional. When it does show up, it's a lot of fun to watch, and the show just feels a little bit like it has a little bit more quality, which is actually really sad to say. But I get that it's a lot cheaper and it takes less time to animate all of this, but it still looks really incomplete. The writing for the show for the first 2 episodes was pretty underwhelming and at times almost unbearable, for me at least. There was a lot of dialogue, and some of that dialogue I just felt was extra and really didn't need to be in there. Like, okay, you got your point across, but you don't have to keep adding more and more detail to explain the situation. In the 3rd episode, it was a lot more tolerable, so that's where the show definitely had its improvement. The other flaw would be the inclusion of Miles Morales. I'm not going to jump into spoiler territory here, but Peter does meet Miles Morales really early on in the show. And I think that's where the show went completely wrong, because by seeing Miles Morales, they're going to implement the Spider-Verse in this show, if you've also seen it from the promo art. And personally, I think it's way too early to be bringing in Miles Morales into the show. That's what I really liked about the Ultimate Spider-Man. Miles Morales didn't show up until the very end of the show, on the last season of. I'm not really sure how the pacing is gonna work on this show, but it's way too early to be introducing a character like that. But I personally think the series definitely has potential, but it's just crushed under the weight of all of these flaws with the writing, the artwork, and the Spider-Verse. It has everything set up for itself, but it's all of these additional things are what are causing the show to just collapse on itself. I personally am still going to watch the show just to see how the story progresses and character development, and see if there's any improvements at all by maybe the end of the first season. But that's all I've got for you guys. Just my quick first impression on the first 3 episodes of Disney XD's new Spider-Man animated series. Let me know what you guys think. Have you checked the series out? What do you think about it? And does this show interest you at all? I know the show has been getting a lot of bad reception, and I know that's definitely gonna keep people away from the show. A lot of people, if you're being honest. I personally think you should at least check out a few episodes. Episode 3 and onwards from there. But definitely give the series a chance. At least see what's in store. And if you like it, then keep watching it. If not, then it wasn't that much of a waste of time, right? As always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to smack that like button. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you like the video and you want to see more superhero content like this and similar videos to this, subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys next time.